Word up, Gearheads! I know my fans have been very excited to see what I had to say about the release of Silksong, and since all of my comments have just been begging me to get down and dirty in the cogworks with this game, I won't drag out the intro too long, but I will, however, note that, and it's very serious here, there will be spoilers for Act 2 of Hollow Knight Silksong. Most of those are going to be visual spoilers. I'm going to be showing off areas of the game that you can't access until you reach Act 2, but I will also be mentioning some aspects of the game and how you transition between Act 1 and Act 2. So if you don't want spoilers, please just go ahead and play the game yourself. It's only $20, and I think it's just great. So anyways, that's my intro done, so finally let's just go ahead and, without further ado, let's just get into it. Ever since it was first announced on Valentine's Day 2019, Hollow Knight Silksong has been on the tip of every gamer's tongue. The incredible success of Team Cherry's previous game and a longer than expected development cycle combined together to make Hollow Knight Silksong one of the most anticipated games of the decade. Sure enough, we received a sprawling maze-like game, full of unique challenges, scares, and heartwarming moments that never cease to amaze. But what just about nobody expected was that Hollow Knight Silksong would be a steampunk masterpiece. In 2010, the developers of the game Pot Tropica released Steampunk Island, an adventure in which Pot Tropicans could explore an eerily empty, abandoned complex of impressive steampunk machines while navigating steampunk platforming challenges, solving difficult steampunk puzzles, and even battling the dangerous steampunk denizens of an abandoned technological metropolis, which might sound familiar. It went on to inspire hundreds of video games in the steampunk genre, such as famous titles like BioShock, Dishonored, and Perils of Man. And as anyone who's played both titles and has two brain cells to rub together can tell you, Hollow Knight Silksong is more inspired by Pop Tropica's Steampunk Island than any other steampunk video game in human history. I mean, this game puts Professor Layton to shame. In addition to the hundreds of obvious steampunk mechanisms and enemies that are visible on screen across the map of Hollow Knight Silksong, researchers across the Hollow Knight Silksong and steampunk subreddits have collaborated to discover over 10,000 steampunk devices implied by the level structure, background, and setting itself. The steampunk elements are so prevalent in this game that they probably could have gotten away with calling it Hollow Knight Steam Song. Betwixt its mighty clockwork warriors and terrifying pitch of grinding gears is an ocean of devices living in the subtext. Pistons, conveyors, pumps, engines, and the great uniting force that has birthed the greatest genre on planet Earth, steam itself. Steam is... I mean, look, anyone who's ever even seen a screenshot of Hollow Knight Silksong could tell you that steam is the number one most important element of the whole entire freaking game. You don't need Steampunk Steve to tell you that. It's even baked into the level design. Like, here, take a look at this. Here, in the exhaust organ, that's steam exhaust, the Hollow Knight brushes up against a trap that shoots raw steam into the section of the map she wants to travel through. Steam blocks her way here. And this actually happens a lot throughout the game. I can't think of, every time it happens. But I remember taking notes about it happening like a million times. Even though I lost my notepad. But it happens a lot. Steam blocks your way. But why don't we quickly take a moment to compare that to what it's like when you first unlock the steam-powered elevator, right? Without the power of the steam-powered elevator, the Hollow Knight would never have been able to reach the Citadel, or even escape the slab. Without the power of steam, the Hollow Knight might not ever even get to the Citadel, because she has to travel through the steam-powered dirty docks to find the magma bell, which is the only frickin' way anybody could ever be the last judge. I spent 3 years of my life on that boss. I'm not kidding. Here, the steam powers machines that crafted the bell, right? And the challenging puzzle doors that eventually grant the Hollow Knight entry into the blacksmith, steam. Steam. What powers the blood of the clockwork machine that pushes and pulls, sheds light and casts shadow, and divides the world into good and evil? Nothing less than the power of steam. That's the Steampunk Bible right there. Word for word. Everything that happens within the story and gameplay of a steampunk video game must be integrally tied to steam. And that's done just masterfully here. Like the Hollow Knight herself, Steam rises towards the Citadel with the same urgency and inevitability of the player, in pursuit of some lofty, unknowable goal at the top of the Citadel, right? And the morality of each action taken by the player and by the Hollow Knight herself is heightened by the presence of Steam. Earlier, I mentioned the obvious similarities between Hollow Knight Silksong and Pop Tropic's Steampunk Island. In the course of editing this video, some of my peers that I've spoken to about this don't really understand the connection I'm making, which is fine, because this channel is all about communication. So instead of just having me rant about it, I actually went ahead and got two little screenshots, one from both titles. First, we have a platform found in the Clockwork core in the Citadel, right under where those colorful dancing types for the boss of the day. And next, we have a platform found in Steampunk Island in the first area, like basically right as you get off the blimp. Now watch as I fade one over the other, just like this, and wow. Is anyone picking up on this? Is anybody else picking up on this? I see so little discourse about the obvious imprint that Steampunk Island has on Hollow Knight Silksong. It's crazy. It's nuts. Of course, we didn't get absolutely everything perfect. One idea that Steampunk Island perfected is that sometimes a steampunk world is abandoned, often because they accelerated their technology too far to even be human anymore. In Steampunk Island, you don't even meet anybody until the very end of the island, and you're just alone in a world of steampunk. That puts all the focus on the environment, which is given this special richness by steampunk, and creates this air of mystery, right, as to how these amazing steampunk inventions actually work, and who made them. In Hollow Knight Silksong, you do a lot of talking to people, and that to me distracts a little bit from the clockwork and gears, the steam engines and such. But I will say to the game's credit that most of the really steampunk heavy sections only have robots who want to fight you, and I think that's great. I love that. Of course, I wasn't a huge fan that they added the steampunk robot who wants to have a conversation with you. As anyone who follows this channel knows, I firmly believe that steampunk can't create artificial intelligence, and I'll just go ahead and repeat that. Steampunk cannot bring automatons to sapience or simulate speech effectively. I feel like I have to say that in every video, but I really do believe it. Now, since this is probably the biggest steampunk video game released on PC since SteamWorld Heist, I see a lot of people theorizing on the Hollow Knight Silksong subreddit, some theories supporting the idea that the prevalence of Steam in the game is a reference to Valve's Steam, which is of course the service with which most people are playing the game itself, and I wanted to offer a bit of caution here as a veteran of the genre. There often isn't much to be found in this investigation. I always liked that Steam is called what it's called, and I like that they had the little Steam engine as the icon. That's great for me, yeah. But that doesn't, does that mean anything about the message of the game or any steampunk game on Steam? I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. But even when I'm not convinced, you all know I like to offer some theories, so I might suggest one. I sort of thought there might be some semantics around the idea of Inception here. Since you as a person use Steam to play Hollow Knight Silksong, and the Hollow Knight uses Steam in the game to get to the Citadel, right? By putting the game on Steam, they might be suggesting something about the world being a grand cogwork machine. Just as the Hollow Knight is but one cog in a great Steam machine, so too is the player. Every gear she passes is part of the great machine of the Citadel. Every person playing the game and making these steampunk theories is perhaps a cog of a different machine. The machine of planet Earth. I don't know for sure that's what Team Cherry intended by putting the game on Steam, but I wanted to share that theory nonetheless. Hollow Knight Silksong has a lot of mysteries left to uncover. New secrets and theories are coming out every day, leaving gamers asking the big questions. What if? When will? And can we? If you have any ideas to share about the role that steampunk plays in this game, or just have something positive to say about steampunk or Silksong in general, please leave a comment below, or just leave a like. And hey, if you like what you're hearing, consider subscribing to my channel and becoming a Gearhead. Catch you later, Gearheads!